กำลังฟังสถานีวิทยุ AM 1575 กิโลเฮิรตซ์สรานรมเรดิโอวิทยุการทูตเพื่อประชาชนเชื่อมไทยสู่โลกเชื่อมโลกสู่ไทยคุณกำลังอยู่กับรายการ Spokesman Live คุยรอบโลกกับโฆษกกต.ทางวิทยุสรานรม AM 1575 กิโลเฮิรตซ์
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ขอต้อนรับสู่รายการ Spokesman Live นะครับวันนี้ครับเรามีแขกพิเศษนะครับเราจะดำเนินรายการเป็นภาษาอังกฤษเป็นครั้งแรกนะครับ I want to welcome our guest Mr. Danny Wang
Thank you.
and Miss Honda เพชรพรเชิงวิวัฒกิจครับ The reason that we are doing this with Mr. Danny Wang is because we want to invite you to talk about the business world, the startups, the world of technology, innovation, edutech, and I know that you have a lot of experience in the business world. You have started your business in many countries, but before we get into that, I would like to invite you to tell us a little bit about yourself and about Honda.
Sure, please. Absolutely. Yeah, so I was born actually in South Korea, and at the age of 5, my older brother 6, we immigrated to America, grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, went to public school our entire life. My brother went to MIT, where he studied mechanical engineering, material science, and biotech. And I was to go to Stanford to be a good Asian son, to be a medical doctor, and 9/11 happened. So after the attack on the World Trade Center, I made the decision to serve my country, and I went to the United States Military Academy at West Point. I served 10 years in the U.S. Army as an Army Airborne Ranger, 4 years as a cadet at West Point, and 6 years as an officer to the rank of captain. After that, I transitioned out of the military and came to Shanghai, China to start an edutech company with my older brother, Sam.
But you did serve in Iraq.
I did.
Did you? So, how many tours did you do?
I did 2 tours in Iraq. I actually went to Samarra, Iraq, the first deployment, and then Baghdad, Iraq, the second deployment.
And how did you meet the beautiful lady sitting next to you?
So that's a huge blessing. I turned 30 years old on July 5th, 2014, and the very next day, 30 years and 1 day, I met Honda in Shanghai, China.
And you gave her the name Honda?
so I didn't give her the name Honda, but that was a name given by her parents. As you know, all Thai people have a nickname. Her real name is much more difficult for me to pronounce, but over the years, I've become a master of spelling and also pronouncing that name.
Honda, can you please share with us your story?
My story, I was told that when I'm working in China, I'll be working with a gentleman, and he's like Captain America. Then I was imagining like tall, blonde hair, blue eyes. His name is Danny. And then when I met him, I'm like, oh, so this is Captain America?
The Asian version.
Asian version.
Of course. You're bigger than Captain America.
I might think that I am, but we know the truth. So.
We met in Hanoi, ladies and gentlemen, where you have one of your schools
Yes.
in Hanoi. Please share with us about the school is called Point Avenue.
That's right.
What's the story behind the name of the
Sure.
Point
So Point Avenue comes from West Point, and then Avenue is Massachusetts Avenue, which is where MIT and Harvard, the road there in Cambridge. Point Avenue, and then our logo is a compass because we believe in character development and character education. So as the compass always points true north, our students' character should point true north.
And what is it about your school?
Absolutely. So we're actually an edutech company. So we offer an online to offline, what we call hybrid or blended learning for students as young as 6 years old as 18 years old. So we have our own online products, including test prep products, including online courses, and we are in the process of developing an optical character recognition, OCR technology, for mathematics.
I see. And what do your students want to achieve from attending your it's a weekend school or is it after school program?
Yeah, so it's actually an after school program. We have students attend our programs during the weekdays after normal school hours, and then also on the weekends, basically all day on Saturdays and Sundays. And the goal here is, once again, going back to the character development. So more than just academic excellence, and doing well on testing. It's all about building the individual, building self-worth, self-confidence, and building a mind of gratitude towards the older generation. We believe that's important. We need to teach that to our kids.
I understand you have a fitness in your school. Why?
We do. So we in all of our centers we have a gym. First and foremost, as mentors, we share our experiences, whereas teachers share knowledge. We believe it's our job to be fit, to be physically fit, to be mentally fit, so that we can lead our students as their mentors. So we do have these gyms for our mentors, but also for our students. We do offer camps for students where they learn about high intensity interval training, where they learn about how they can take better care of their body, healthy mind.
I see. And you have instructors and teachers who share their experiences with the students?
Absolutely, yes. So all of our mentors are very passionate educators. We have a combination of foreign talents and also, of course, a lot of local talents committed to mentoring the youth because that's our future.
And then where they're from, the mentors and the teachers?
Yeah, so we have a pretty international community, right? So my wife being Thai, Korean American, we have Chinese American, Japanese American, Vietnamese American, and also Americans and Canadians and Brits. So it's a very international community, which we believe represents what the world population is all about, right? So promoting diversity for youth is very important.
But like you and Honda, they also have the education from the very top schools in the US and Europe?
That's right. Yes. So a lot of our graduates have gone on to top 30 US universities or top universities in the UK, and they have just a global mindset, and they want to bring those experiences back to our students.
So they know exactly what to do to try to help your students to get in some of those top schools in the world.
Because we realize that it's not just about top schools. It's not just about the grades. We want them to be global citizens.
Absolutely.
We want them to strive as global leaders in the future. And you and I, we all here as adults know that it's not just academics, right? You need to be able to speak your mind, critically think, and present yourself well and have good leadership skills. So all of those things, that's what we're trying to teach our students.
Absolutely.
And volunteering is also a big part of your program?
Sure. So I always talk to parents about this and students, and a lot of times we focus on how can my child be a global citizen? But we say you need to be a good citizen first within your community. So there are so many examples. Even during the COVID time, you could start some type of fundraiser to provide medical supplies for local hospitals. You could go out and clean up the community. As a matter of fact, DG and we actually did some work in the Vietnamese community when he was the ambassador there, right? He invited us to the embassy and we did some artwork on some electric circuit boxes that were kind of outdated and out of place. And I remember he himself as a leader got his hands dirty, literally, as he was painting these electric circuits. So that inspired me. Leading by example, which is what we also teach our students.
Well, thank you so much for joining us with our effort in beautifying the beautiful Hanoi and also the area surrounding our embassy in Hanoi. I was proud of that effort.
Yes.
And we have some very young children, and most of the children are from your school.
That's right.
Yes. And before when you're quite successful in Hanoi, I understand. And I understand that but before you become successful, like anything in life, you have issues, you have obstacles that you have to overcome in Hanoi and in other countries.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were in Shanghai, China. This is where we met back in 2014. At the age of 30, I exited my first company with my brother. He was 31. And a few years after, we actually made the decision to come to Vietnam. Of course, coming into a new market, just so much learning to do. Every day, we're constantly learning.
It's
right?
like hustling, actually.
Yeah.
We can't speak the language. We don't know. Even food, like how do you order the food when you can't speak the language? But that's a challenge, and we enjoy that challenge.
So we made trips to Hanoi and to Ho Chi Minh City. I guess a lot of foreign direct investment, foreign businesses first go to Ho Chi Minh City, or what the locals there call Saigon. But we just felt compelled that Hanoi as the capital city was the right place to start to build our education brand. And we began our journey 2.5 years ago in June of 2018.
But you chose Hanoi over Ho Chi Minh City, which is a much bigger
That's right.
Business and investment hub
Absolutely.
of Vietnam.
The financial center, yeah.
but you chose Hanoi.
We did, because we believe that in order to build a very strong brand, we would have to get to the heart and the minds of the people. And Hanoi is the capital city where all of the important decisions are made. And of course, we saw more opportunity there because it's actually growing quite rapidly in terms of the number of international schools. I think most of you may know that Vietnam is top 6 in the number of students who study in America, for example. So there's a great emphasis for families who want their kids to study abroad.
But your wife is Thai. And what about Thailand in all of this?
So that's why we're here in Thailand, right? So we actually expanded to Bangkok. We opened our first office in Thailand
There you go.
in the month of November. So very recently, I came out of quarantine. My wife picked me up. We actually went to Swan Loom, Lumpini Park, ran about 10 kilometers. I was pretty out of shape. And then we went right into our office. So our office is in Gateway Akamai, right off the Akamai BTS stop. And it's a really nice space, what we call learning center for our students and families.
And it's already operational?
It is, yeah.
It is.
So we opened in November, and we'll be hosting our first program. It is what we call a Winter Leaders Boarding Camp from the 19th to the 31st of December, and it'll be hosted here in Bangkok in our office.
I see. And students, where are they from?
Sure.
They're
So
from Bangkok
they
locally,
are.
or?
Yeah. So I mean, right now, because of the restrictions on travel, all of our students are coming locally from Bangkok. We do have students from international schools, from private bilingual schools. For the public school calendar, it doesn't really work for the winter camp, but we do offer programs in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall as well.
Yeah, our learning center is different because we try to build it as a third home. So third home being home at home, school home, and then our center, we want it to be a third home because I realized that back when I was studying, I want a place where I can work with my friends, where I can do group work, do homework, hang out, and I want some place that is safe for the parents to be comfortable. Like, okay, oh, you're at Point Avenue, okay, go do your homework there. So that's the concept of Point Avenue, making it into a third home for the kids. So in that center, we have a gym, we have a library,
I love
we
that
have
part.
canteen,
Yeah.
we have shower, we have everything. It's almost like a literally third home. If we have beds, then it's gonna be
They
home
could just
home.
sleep
Yeah,
there.
they could just-
Home home.
But we do not have beds.
I don't think parents would be happy about that. They want them to come home.
Come
so-
home, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe I can help volunteer and help you out with your school. It sounds very
That'll be
exciting.
fantastic. Thank you.
In overall, you have your business in Hanoi, and you're going back to the school in Hanoi soon, and you'll be coming back to Bangkok.
Absolutely.
And how do you see Bangkok as an ecosystem,
Sure.
as a tech scene, if you will? How do we? It has always been a goal
Absolutely.
to build up our tech scene and our startups scene as
Yep.
well. As an edutech company,
Sure.
a startup, how do you see Thailand figuring out in all of this?
So I mean, to be just very straightforward about it, I think Vietnam at current state has less restrictions for foreign direct invested companies, so what we call FDIs. As a matter of fact, in Vietnam, we can 100% own that company as a foreign entity. Whereas in Thailand, right, there are some restrictions. Right now, the 51-49% rule applies, so you have to either be married to a Thai, right? So that kind of worked out for us, but that's not the reason why we got married. Or you need to find a trusted
I hope
Thai
not.
partner. No. So you heard me, right? Very bluntly. But you have to find a Thai partner that you can trust. And that word trust, I would say, is a very difficult challenge that all businesses must be able to navigate. To find someone that you can trust, not just for the short term, but for the long term. So I think with those restrictions, Thailand is definitely challenging. However, on the flip side, there are a lot of smart people here, right? Especially when it comes to STEM-based education, when it comes to a lot of emphasis on that at an early age. There's a lot of talent for individuals who can build startups in artificial intelligence and machine learning and big data science, leveraging technology to be able to do things much more efficiently and effectively.
Danny, you and Honda are obviously very different from a business point of view, and I'll share some of your suggestions
Sure.
with our border investment.
Sure.
I hope that some of them are watching.
Okay. Yeah, we hope so too.
We hope to build in this climate, in this economic slowdown. Our utmost goal is to help support and build it back up
Sure.
again. In this time, that business, some of them are closing down, but you chose to start a new business
Yeah.
right here in Bangkok.
Sure.
can you share with us the reasons why?
Absolutely. So, I mean, COVID has affected all of us, right? And this idea of when will COVID go away is not something we should be saying because we need to learn to live with the current environment. And I would say that education is something that my parents always told me is something nobody can take away from you, right? So education should be accessible for all. As a matter of fact, that's why we're building and putting more emphasis on our online courses and products because not everyone can come to Gateway Akamai. We want to provide education for those students and children who are learning from rural parts or parts outside of the major cities. And so we believe firmly that because education is something that everyone should have accessibility to, even during difficult times, we go to our families, we go to education, we go to these things that will never have a life cycle.
Actually, during difficult times, I believe education is more important than ever.
Absolutely.
During difficult times than anything. That's what we believe. Yeah.
You believe in your business. Even Thailand has entered fully in
Yes.
As an aging society. You know that you have factored in all of this into your calculation.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Well, if you just look at a macro level, there's a growth in the number of international schools growing, right? I believe there's about 210 international schools in Thailand alone because there is a migration of mainland Chinese and people outside of Thailand coming to Thailand because people are very kind, the food is nice, the weather is great, and there are a lot of great educational opportunities
That's
here.
true. There's a big growth in educational, in international education in Thailand as a whole. I know a lot of Chinese families are moving to Thailand, and even though the country is aging, but that means there are less kids, but they want to place more important into
Absolutely.
education, higher
quality,
yeah, like premium service, more attention to detail, all those things. And so that's what we believe in. That's why it's less about like math, it's less just about like, hey, here's
Math,
study.
science, physics.
Yeah, it's less but more about like detailed attention, care, all those things.
Parents are also learning, right? We're constantly being educated ourselves, and they're recognizing that academic excellence is not the way to succeed in life, right? You need social skills, you need to have leadership, you need to understand the importance of community service and giving back more so than just gaining for one's benefit. So, this type of holistic education is what Thailand needs. We need to disrupt, just like we're disrupting in fintech and food tech and different industries, we need to disrupt the education space more so than ever here, today, and now.
There's a lot of talk about reforming our education. Do you think your business is part of that effort?
Absolutely, right? So in terms of innovation, we believe it must start with the youth. Right now, there are some challenges with the young and the old in terms of what we call the generational gaps. And we believe a lot of that stems from the education that they received and that they are receiving. So if we can help the youth develop the right kind of mindset, develop the right kind of character and value systems, then the future will be at a much better place. So we must start that now.
We place really emphasis on gratitude as well because of the old generation. That's why we are here. In every parents meeting, Danny would emphasize on like gratitude towards parents, towards teachers, and make them realize that that's where they are powerful in their life, right? Because of their experience and their teaching. That's why they are here today.
So you're saying some of the values are actually useful in the present day world, in the digital world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Values are something that do not die, right? Being a good person, being kind, having gratitude towards your parents, your elders, and what they have sacrificed and done for you. Those things are timeless, right? So those values we need to continue to instill in our students and the youth.
Last question. I think we have a little bit of time.
Okay.
How do you see Thailand as an education hub in the region?
Yeah. So I think, going back to what it means to be a global citizen, right? Because there is a great emphasis among Thai families to help their children become global citizens, first and foremost, we need to teach students to become good citizens, good stewards within their community. Then the next step is their neighbors, right? So before we think about America or other countries, we think about ASEAN, right? In terms of the network and connectivity within ASEAN, right? There's opportunities for international communication and cooperation. It's what you focus on on a day-to-day basis, but we want individuals to learn to cooperate with their neighbors and to be able to accomplish tasks and goals together. And then the third step would be after you leave the ASEAN community, how can you be an effective steward and a contributor within the global community?
I think it would be interesting for you to share the mentors and teachers. How is it different?
Sure,
I think
absolutely.
That's
Yeah, so I said this a little bit earlier, but teachers are individuals who share knowledge, right? So I think in terms of disrupting the education space, right now, still in schools, there's a lot of rote memorization. So as a student, I'm expected to go in, take notes, listen to my teacher, listen to the lecture, and leave. And that's how we consume knowledge. But learning best happens when we are involved. We need to be a part of it. And through mentors, as we share our experiences, there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of contribution. There's a lot of collaboration among students who should be at the center of the classroom, learning together rather than learning from the teacher.
And your instructors and your teachers with your school in Ekamai, are they from Thailand or what?
So yeah,
what's their background?
we actually have a combination of both, right? So we have staff who are from Thailand who interface and communicate with the parents, but the mentors are individuals who have studied abroad, right? So as we said, myself being Asian, I understand what Asian parents want and expect of their children, but I'm also American in terms of my background. So we have individuals who have just global experiences from the top institutions, and they have brought those experiences back to Thailand to help Thai students.
Yeah, we try to choose those who have the same values as us, because after a certain time, kids stop listening to your parents, which is true. Like we saw a lot of families coming in and said like, oh, my kids do not listen to parents anymore. And Danny always give advice and suggestion about seeking out mentorship. Maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah. So I mean, she always says Danny, but she does the same thing. She's equally as effective, and I actually think my wife is even more effective than myself because she speaks Thai. In her background, I need to brag a little bit, but she went to Bangkok Patana School, went to Thammasat, then went to Nottingham, and then went to Cambridge. And currently, she's studying a Master's of Science Education from Johns Hopkins University, and then also receiving a Certificate of Education, Early Education Learning from Harvard Graduate School of Education. So I have one degree. This lady has 6 degrees, right?
Oh,
So,
see that then you also teach at that school?
Yeah, I try to mentor the kids. I try to be the bridge in communication because after a certain times, sometimes what parents say, then the kids refuse to listen because it's old, like generation, and they do not believe in it. So it is important for parents to seek out mentors who have the same values but can deliver it in a style, digestible type of content that kids can understand. So that's what we do as mentors in the school as well.
So the school will be right here in Ekamai.
in the heart of Ekamai,
Yeah,
yes,
heart of Ekamai.
for our
And-
Thai
and
families.
we are excited about that. And
Thank you.
hopefully that we'll work more with you to help support the local education
Absolutely.
right here in Bangkok.
Yes, we plan to
And in
raise
the region
our
as well, huh?
future children, our unborn children here in Thailand. I love Thailand. Absolutely. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the food, right? And I love the fact that families do place a great deal of emphasis on the importance of family, right? There are these familial ties, and also a great deal of emphasis on the importance of education.
So we will definitely see more of you, Danny Wang and Miss Honda Pecharapon Cheung Viwatkit. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us your wisdom and
Absolutely.
your experience. They're very useful for our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
ขอบคุณครับ
แอปพลิเคชันไทยชนะที่มาตอบโจทย์ควบคู่ไปกับการใช้ชีวิตวิถีใหม่ New Normal มีไว้เพื่อช่วยในการติดตามสอบสวนโรคกรณีพบผู้ติดเชื้อโควิด -19 ในสถานที่หรือร้านค้าใดที่มีการใช้บริการโหลดเลยวันนี้รองรับทั้งระบบปฏิบัติการ Android และ iOS ใช้ง่ายปลอดภัยชัวร์ร่วมหยุดการแพร่ระบาดฟื้นฟูเศรษฐกิจของเราด้วยไทยชนะเช็คอินแล้วอย่าลืมเช็คเอาท์นะคะ
วันนี้บัวแก้วคุณชรจะพาเพื่อนๆมาทำความรู้จักวิทยุสรานรมกันนะครับวิทยุสรานรมคืออะไรวิทยุสรานรมเป็นสื่อของกระทรวงการต่างประเทศที่นำเสนอข้อมูลข่าวสารและเรื่องน่ารู้ด้านการต่างประเทศเพื่อให้ประชาชนได้ทราบข่าวสารและความรู้เกี่ยวกับการต่างประเทศไม่ว่าจะเป็นด้านเศรษฐกิจสังคมกฎหมายภาษาวัฒนธรรมรวมถึงเกร็ดความรู้อื่นๆอีกมากมายเพราะการต่างประเทศใกล้ตัวมากกว่าที่เราคิดนะครับแล้วรับฟังจากช่องทางไหนได้บ้าง สามารถรับฟังผ่านคลื่นวิทยุ AM 1575 กิโลเฮิรตซ์และรับชมรายการผ่านช่องทางออนไลน์ได้ทางเว็บไซต์ Facebook และ YouTube สรานรมเรดิโอด้วยนะครับวิทยุสรานรมวิทยุการทูตเพื่อประชาชนเชื่อมไทยสู่โลกเชื่อมโลกสู่ไทยปีนี้คงเป็นปีที่หนักมากสำหรับพี่ๆน้องๆใช่ไหมครับโดยเฉพาะการอยู่บ้านหยุดเชื้อเพื่อชาติที่อาจทำให้น้ำหนักของบางคนเพิ่มขึ้นจนน่าตกใจแต่ถึงจะอยู่บ้านหรือ work from home กระทรวงการต่างประเทศก็ยังอยู่ข้างๆเราเสมอและไม่ว่าคนไทยที่ไหนในโลกจะประสบปัญหาใดๆในต่างประเทศเช่นเจ็บป่วยแรงงานถูกหลอกประสบภัยพิบัติทางธรรมชาติหนังสือเดินทางหายหมดอายุรวมถึงได้รับผลกระทบจากโควิด -19 ก็สามารถติดต่อขอรับความช่วยเหลือหรือคำแนะนำจากกระทรวงการต่างประเทศผ่านช่องทางต่างๆมากมายช่องทางติดต่อกระทรวงการต่างประเทศ Facebook เว็บไซต์ Line Twitter Instagram และแอปพลิเคชันไทยคอนซูล่าหรือจะโทรหาสายด่วนสถานเอกอัครราชทูตและสถานกงสุลใหญ่ก็ได้นะครับการทูตเพื่อประชาชนทุกแห่งหนเราดูแล